Hayley Williams dropped her album collection of singles with no
There's no
group
name.
name. It's just like what, 14 tracks?
There's 17 singles that came out all on Friday, and they were released all as singles. You know, one thing with Hayley Williams and her solo project is she doesn't fit the mold. She doesn't do the norm, which is fine. It's her solo project. You do what you want.
Yeah,
it annoys the ever-living fuck out of you and I every time, and we talk about it, and we still reference the way that Petals for Armor, the first one, was
so bad,
was released. You know, and we're gonna leave it at that. But you know, I did see her share on Instagram a fan theory about why the presumably album was released this way, and it's because it's kind of like there's no track listing order, which, you know what, that's fine. And assuming she shared that is presumably part of the reason why she did this. That is fine. I don't care. There doesn't have to be a track listing order, but why do I gotta make it? Why do I got to do it? I don't want to have to do it.
You're just lazy?
Yeah, I just put these in the playlist the way that they came up on my Spotify in that order, and I left it at that. Yeah, releasing aside, so interesting, so different. I almost would be less upset if she just did a single a week for 17 weeks. That would have
piss me off.
That would honestly be better because, you know, for me, like, I don't know, just like being thrown all of these songs and it not being in any sort of flow and having to try to figure out my own way to listen to it has made it hard for me to kind of retain the information, because it's information overload, and then it is not filtered in any sort of way in terms of the way the artist wants me to consume it. So I am having a hard time with that, but I did the best I could to listen to the collection in the way that they were put on my Spotify, because now the focus track is completely like the latest single is different than the one that was on there on Friday. So I don't fucking know. I don't like this release plan at all. But I digress. I had to take notes because of this. It's normally all up here, but the different cover arts and all that shit, it's all throwing me off. Everything about this is throwing me off. We have been highly critical of Hayley Williams' solo project up until this point, and I'm sure that's going to continue with this. Gloria and I did not talk about our thoughts on this much. We just kind of both agreed that the rollout for this sucked. I sent it to her because it popped up, you know, the day before, you know, on different, you know, different regions, and I was like, she's doing this, and you're like, god damn, you know,
what is her problem?
Yeah, like why
She's crazy.
But, you know, that aside, like I said, we've been highly critical. I liked Petals for Armor for the most part. There were parts of that record that I don't enjoy, but there were chunks of that album that I really did enjoy. Were different styles and things like that I haven't seen Hayley Williams do in the past. The second record, though, which was Flowers for Vases, no, not a fan of that one. It is just the slowest parts of Petals for Armor in an album and presented to us, and I'm not a fan because it just doesn't feel like the record goes anywhere, and yada yada yada. Have not even remotely touched that album since we chatted about it on here. I could not wait to not listen to that record again. I was so not a fan of that. This is probably the most like cohesive sonically that Hayley has sounded, because she's doing some things off of Petals for Armor, she's doing some things off of Flowers for Vases, she's doing some Paramore, and it's the most cohesive the project's ever been, which I appreciate, because there's a bunch of moments throughout this record, single collection, whatever it is, which I hate. I hate the fact that I can't label it, but that's part of the marketing, which is fine. There are plenty of songs on here that I do enjoy because of that fact. It is my biggest worry was that we were going to get this, and then it was going to be a bunch of indie pop, slow shit, like this project has done in the past, and there's obviously moments for that on the record. I'm calling it a record, but there's plenty of moments that aren't. My favorite song is the one I can't pronounce. Mirtazapine, that's what I'm going with for this song, is my favorite off the record. This is quite possibly one of my favorite songs that Hayley has done for her solo project entirely. Can I pronounce the name of it? Hell no. Do I think that the song absolutely rocks? Absolutely. I also really think that Hard is another phenomenal song. That's number 2 for me. But if someone asks me my favorite song, that one is my favorite, because I don't know how to really say the other one. Gonna have to listen to the song a few hundred times to get down her pronunciation.
Really out,
The word's probably not that hard to say. I'm just illiterate.
No, couple it's okay. Me too. I couldn't correct you, so we're both fine.
Couple of other songs I like are "Love Me Different" and "Kill Me" as well. There's just songs on here that have more of a rocky element, which are the ones I mentioned for the most part. And I just think that she actually like mission accomplished this time around with the project, in my opinion. Because there's still experimentation, which I want her to do. I want her to experiment and try different things. That's what I like about Petals for Armor. There are songs on that record that I like because of how experimental they are, and we'll never hear her do that in the context of the main project Paramore. And then there's times where the experimentation gets out of hand, or she does something for the sake of doing it. Flowers for Vases, which I'm good on that ever again. Some other songs, Negative Self-Talk, I thought was interesting, although be it on the slower side. Ice in My OJ is cool. Ego Death at a Bachelorette Party is cool. I've seen a lot of people sharing that one. That seems to be a favorite amongst the people. Glum is a perfect example of a more experimental track. With the synthesizers and the vocators and all of those interesting effects on the vocals and things like that. Brotherly,
you did take notes for this. This is awesome.
My notes were the four songs. That was it. Everything else is still up here.
Damn.
I just had to write down favorites because I knew, looking at it with all the different cover arts, there's too much going on on our Spotify here. It's totally different when it's all one cover art. I'm somehow easily able to pick it out versus and Brotherly Hate and Blood Bros are some standouts as well. I'm thoroughly impressed by this one. I didn't think I was going to talk as highly about this as I expected to, because again, there was zero expectations for this going in. I was just like, oh boy, Hayley Williams is putting out new solo music. The last one left me with this really sour feeling, and we left it at that. But there are plenty of tracks that I'm going to walk away from this enjoying. I hope at some point there's a track list somewhere, whether I have to do it myself or it comes out in a full body form, that I can go consume this. But like I said, plenty of tracks on here that I enjoy.
There you go. So I agree. I think this record is way better than Petals for Armor or fucking Vase, whatever the fuck.
Flowers
I'm not.
Vases.
You don't even gotta. No, it's okay.
Album sucks.
Album sucks, so it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Fucking poops for poops is what I would call it, And you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I completely agree. I think it's the most cohesive body of work, even though it's not a body of work. We made it into a body of work because what the fuck? That it just like I could say a couple things about the record, but it's just the rollout itself is what is so prominent in my head when I think about this record. It's not the actual contents of it, it's how it was delivered. And to me, a rollout is so important, and it helps me digest shit sometimes. It gives me a little taster. You deserve a little taster if you're dropping a fucking 17 track record, But she just dropped the 17 tracks separately. No track listing, no nothing, just 17 singles. Have fun, eat, children, and that's fucking it. So going through the record, I mean, there was no flow, there was no story. Well, I mean, there's like a couple consistencies in the tracks of kind of what I picked up on was like falling out of love or relationship issues or switching it up, life getting weird,
Mhm.
losing yourself. That's kind of what I picked up on the record, quote unquote. So I think that's cool. That even in a fucked up lineup, there is still consistency. There's still harmony in the Discord.
Yeah.
So I think that's cool as fuck. Just shows that she's a good writer. And there was some thought and effort, or at least the timing on this was correct
Mhm.
for this record. It wasn't just I've had songs from 8 years ago and songs from a week ago, and they're all talking about 50 different fucking things,
And I
but
want to put them out as singles on Friday.
for no fucking, why not? It seems like there was actually some planning to this and, writing schedules or whatever. So I think that's awesome. And I think that's cool. And I appreciate that. Um, True Believer is the song that I've seen a lot of people talking about. I think it's fine. Lyrically, it's sang a lot.
Mhm.
She's speaking on obviously fucking racism in the South and just hypocrites and shit like that. I think it's very powerful that she's using her platform in that way. Um, I don't know if I think it's a little corny because it is so on the nose, or if it's just because it's so on the nose that my brain is like, damn, you can get like a little creative with it. But it's like, do you need to be creative if you're talking about something like that? Sometimes it's just better to just be blunt about it. So, major respects. I thought the song was fine. Um, Sonically, it's not doing too much. It's a very simple melancholy song because I don't expect it to be like fucking pop beats like throwing this shit
Yeah.
back like no, she's talking about some crazy shit, so listen. um I really like I Won't Quit on You. I really like Ego Death at a bachelorette party. I understand why that's the big one. I like Dream Girl and Shibuya. Discovery Channel, she's horny as shit. And I don't listen to Paramore like that, so I don't know if that's like a consistent thing. That shit fucks. Good song. I think it's awesome. And I also liked Blood Bros. Overall, I think the record was fine. I just think like it's a little too dramatic. The rollout was a little too dramatic for what's on here.
Yeah.
It's like she's respectfully like she's not doing anything like groundbreaking on this record. So what's like what's the whole
What's the
thing?
need
What's it
for
about?
17 singles and no sense of direction in terms of how to
Yeah.
listen to them?
Yeah.
No, I get that.
So that's, yeah, I think it's fine.
Yeah, perfectly fine.